Today's topic, which has been rightly selected by the Taxmann, is about ESG, and that is sustainability reporting. So when we just talk about this topic, I think the most important point here is that from financial year 2022-23, this is the first year where top 1,000 companies that is listed by market capitalizations are required to compulsory comply with ESG reporting. See, sustainability or ESG reporting today we are discussing. However, it has the very big roots since so many years. Financial year 2022-23 is the first year, but there was a voluntary reporting was allowed by SEBI for the companies, and there are more than 100 companies have voluntarily adopted and provided reporting of ESG. So in today's presentations, we are going to cover primarily on these particular points. First, why sustainability? Because why we are talking about sustainability? And if you heard me earlier, I have been primarily focusing on financial parameters. Today, we are not talking about financial parameters. We are talking about non-financial parameters. So why there's a need to discuss on non-financial things? We are primarily concerned with only and only the profit. What about the planet? What about the people who are connected with each one of us? And that is the main objective of talking about the sustainable development. So then we discuss about what is sustainable development. Goals, SDG, which is a very used short SDGs are there. Then we'll discuss about the objectives, global sustainable standards. Today, everything is international. If you talk about the Ind AS, it is based on IFRS. Same way, there are global sustainable accounting standards, global sustainable standards are there. So how it has evolved over the period, and then based on that, we are right now talking about the reporting requirements in India. Plus BRSR format. So BRSR is been used, or ESG has been used many times. So business responsibility, sustainable reporting. It is a responsibility of business to report about sustainability. That is BRSR reporting. So BRSR format as specified by SEBI. Information requirement, I think if we just look at the BRSR format, there are a lot of information which are required by SEBI. And these informations are in the form of questions and answers. So instead of just asking you that you provide your information for energy questions, the format has been specified, and for each the format which is provided therein, every company is required to report as per the format specified by SEBI. And lastly, we discuss about the way forward. Obviously, during the period or at the end, we'll have some time for responding to your questions. Let us first look at the 10 reasons why sustainable is more important than ever. I think very important thing which we are talking about right now is which is more important than ever. It has been important, but it has been more important than ever. And the first and foremost is that we have been discussing about the climate change. Today, there are certain regions in the country where there has been rain. This is not the season where rain happens. Summer has been different. The water level has been drastically reduced or increased at certain level. Snow level has been at different level. So the UNHRC has warned that climate change could cause displacement of 250 million, 25 crore people across the world by 2050. The people may have to change where they're living. They may have to be displaced by the way they are living, the place they are living it. Now, talking about one very, very important point, which is eye opener for all of us, is Earth Overshoot Day. How many of you are aware about Earth Overshoot Day? If you are able to Earth Overshoot Day, you can mention your response in the chat box, yes or no. You can select everyone and then you can mention that are you aware about Earth Overshoot Day? No. Bharatwaji se mention no. Anybody who is aware Earth Overshoot Day? Radha mentions no. Persons who are responding, I'm thankful to each one of you because the webinar, when it's online, your response is one of the most important motivation for me to ensure that I continue with the same enthusiasm with which I started. So I have a very good response for everyone. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your same response throughout this presentation. So Earth Overshoot Day is a very important day. Let me just brief you about the definition is provided here. It is the day on which humanity's resource consumption for the year exceeds Earth's capacity to regenerate those resources that year. So we consume the resources throughout the year. Now these resources are being generated from the planet, like water, natural resources, and then we consume. So there is a process where the earth produces resources and then we consume the resources. Wherever we overshoot its capacity to produce for the year and we consume more, that means we are consuming the resources of our future generation. Our grandson, our granddaughter will ask question to us, father, grandfather, why you consume water, why consume the resources which are for me? So Earth Overshoot Day, if I just give an example that in 1970 year, Earth Overshoot date was 30th December. So for a calendar year from 1st January to 31st December, 30th December was the day when we are able to consume the resources for the full year, which is generated. Today, in last year, in 2022, Earth Overshoot Day was 28th July. So 8th July, we have consumed after 30th July, whatever consumption which you have done, that is not the capacity of the earth to produce today, but however we consume from our future generation. Then comes next point is on 92% of the world population lives in places where air pollution exceeds safe limits, according to WHO. 20% of higher risk of dying from lung cancer than people living in less polluted areas. 500 million, 50 crore cars in the world, and by 2030 the number will rise to 1 billion. This means pollution levels will more than double. That's why the government has been focusing on electric vehicles. If you don't use electric vehicles, then the air pollution will be very high. Obviously, we also have to look at the use of power. Energy consumption is also a cause of worry. Then comes 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted worldwide every year. Look at the consumption, 1.3 billion tons wastage. Consumption is different with wastage. 8.3 billion tons of plastics have been produced since 1950s. 73% of beach litter worldwide is plastic. Over 75% of waste is recyclable. However, we only recycle 30% of it. So even though we are able to recycle 75% of waste, however, we only recycle is 30%. Come to next point, that is on sustainable development. Okay, now what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So when I discuss about the point of Earth Overshoot Day, that is the same concept which has been there. You can grow, you can develop anything, however, not compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, right? So any growth or development which is at the cost of future generation is not something which can be acceptable. So focus should not be only a profit, focus should not be only on development, focus should not be only how you are fast you are growing. However, the focus should be on that you must develop, that is sustainable development, that is a key. And if we just look at how the sustainable development word has been used, it was first coined in 1980 when the International Union for Conservation of Nature, International Union for Conservation of Nature, in 1980, they published in World Conservation Strategy a word that is sustainable development. And that was defined in 1987 by UN World is comments on conversation on environment. That is in 1987 it has been defined. So just look at, we are talking about sustainable development today. We are trying to understand that what is sustainable development, what is the importance of that. It has been researched out, it has been talked on in 1980 and it has been defined in 1987. Today in 2023 we are still learning what is it. That shows there is a need of everyone to really focus on this part. Now, sustainable development goal. Okay. First, there are 17 sustainable development goals. That is, first is no poverty, then zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. Now, when you just look at 17 sustainable goal, there is a lot of confusion between ESG, SDG, CSR. These three are the internet terms. ESG is the word which has been used as environmental social governance. CSR is a corporate social responsibility. CSR word has been used since so many years, and primarily it has been like talked more after Companies Act 2013. From CSR we move towards ESG, and now ESG has been aligned towards SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals to transform our world. I think we are talking about something going to create impact. So there are 17 goals which create impact. One, no poverty, zero hunger. So there is a disparity between the persons who are having a huge money and there are people who don't have even the money to eat. How can this kind of disparity possible? Everybody has one human life. So whether the growth or development at the cost of others, the cost of the huge population who are still under the hunger, is it correct way? So there is a need to have the growth and development of across everybody. No human, no well-being, no nature should be like suffered by development. So it talks about poverty, hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. I think these 17 goals, it defines what should be your priorities. Three P's have been discussed so many years back. It says that profit, people, planet. No, it's reverse. First is a planet, second is the people, and third is profit. So whenever any company has been evaluated, the company will not be evaluated only on the way how much they are making a profit. However, how much impact is being created by that company on the lives of people, whether the people who are working there, working along with them, the community in which they are working, they all have been benefited, whether there's a huge impact on the environment where they work. So these are the few questions which are critical for everybody to understand, and that will increase the prestige of a company in the minds of people. So these are the 17 goals which are here. Now let us now move. We are moving towards more on the standards and reporting part. I have tried to create a base with respect to the why sustainable reporting, what is sustainable development, why there's a need to discuss about sustainable, but with the goal and objective to move towards the reporting requirement. Because if we just talk about reporting, I think we are missing the cornerstone heart of this reporting. Why this reporting requirement? Because no one can only for the compliance of reporting, they should do it. They should be taken as the base to start and think. So in the future, it can be more changed and operated so that the overall objective of SDG have been achieved. Now, let us talk about this COP26. COP26 is nothing but 26th UN Climate Change Committee of the Parties. So COP is Committee of the Parties. 26th committee, in the 26th committee, there are discussions on the global sustainable standards. So the comprehensive global baseline of sustainability disclosures is required to be made. That was been discussed during this particular 26th committee. SASB was formed in 2011. SASB stands for Sustainable Accounting Standard Board. Sustainable Accounting Standard Board was formed in 2011. Value Reporting Foundation is June 2021, which has been merged into IFRS Foundation. So IFRS Foundation in the world which publish standards IFRS, which is a financial reporting standards, and these are non-financial parameters. These non-financial parameters are called sustainable. So sustainable development, sustainable reporting is a non-financial parameters, and IFRS financial parameters. They both are part of IFRS Foundation. So ISSB, International Sustainable Standard Board. ISSB, International Sustainable Standard Board, which publishes SASB, the Sustainable Accounting Standard Board standards, and these are there are 77 industry standards have been already issued, which is look at 77 standards. These all standards are a specific separate standard for each industry. Now, from that onwards, we have covered and we have prepared our own reporting requirements. In the world, the standards are separate for each industry. How in India, the objective was to have a uniform reporting requirement. That is what is the most important thing for competitive point of view. So BRSR reporting is on uniform reporting point of view. Now let us look at the BRSR requirements in India. Let me see. Yes. Okay, there are a couple of questions. Yasheshji asked question that which certification courses are available in India or globally for becoming ESG consultant. See, ESG consultant is a very broad word because it includes a lot of other which is environmental social governance. I've seen various consultants from ISO, they are also the part of ESG concern, because in ISO standards there are many standards which are on environment. So these standards are based for them. So you can also refer to ISO standards. In India, basically there is a certification course issued by ICAI which talks about this sustainability BRSR requirements, and mandatory, yes, SSG. I'm coming to that particular point. Uh, Top 1000 companies, these are listed by market capitalizations. The top 1000 listed companies by market capitalization, they are required to comply with BRSR for financial year 2022-23. So this is the first year. Financial year 2022-23 is the first year where top 1000 listed companies by market capitalizations are required to comply with this BRSR. However, for last year, that is financial year 2021-22, for the last year, that was voluntary. And there are many companies, I think more than 100 or 200 companies in India have already complied with BRSR reporting voluntarily. But now it is a compulsory, and this is being integrated with MCA filing, and probably in the future a sustainability index will be developed. Sustainability index is very critical because today you're going to disclose many things, how much they are correct, how much they are genuine, and what is impact of that particular thing, because there are there are n number of questions. As investors, as a stakeholder, you will not have time to go through every questions, but there will be index. The index may be formed based on the reporting and compliance of every questions. So sustainability index may be produced in the future. We will just give rating of the company, how it stands in overall sustainability rating is concerned. So that is the reason why I will say BRSR is very, very important. First, it is compulsory for top 1000 companies, but it is going to be gradually going further to a more number of companies, because the planet cannot be saved only by top 1000 companies. However, it requires concrete efforts of each and everyone who are attached here with, and large number of companies may be required. And through supplier change, because suppliers are also being involved into these particular companies. So value chains are being part of it. So maybe through suppliers, this is also going to be involved, and it is going to be increased over the period. So now I'm just talking about objectives of a sustainable reporting. So why this sustainable report is important? It is the really very critical. It may also affect customer satisfaction retention. As a customer today, you may be tempted to buy Indian products compared to China, right? Or because it's about the loving the country. Same way, you as a customer will also look at, is it affecting my planet? Any product with a green tag, any product where sustainability is a very, very good. It is protecting the environment, protecting the earth, protecting the planet. You may be more aligned towards using that particular product. It may also give the early movers, early companies who are moving towards a sustainable reporting, they will be able to get a competitive advantage compared to other companies in the same industries. Accountability towards your towards the planet, accountability towards people has been set here. Employee satisfaction, because there are many principles which talks about training, which talks about well-being of the employees, which talks about how much you care about your employees. So these parameters will indirectly help you to be favored companies for the employees. So employee turnover ratios may be reduced if the company is able to provide more benefits for compliance with the requirements. Provide specific informations instead of greenwashing. Greenwashing is very, very important word. Anybody who is aware about what is greenwashing? Anybody can say? greenwashing? What do you mean by greenwashing? Okay, fine. So let me just explain what is greenwashing. You may be listening to, basically, I think that pretending to be green and you are not. I think Saswat has mentioned a very, very important word, that is pretending to be green and you're not. So basically, whenever you go, you sign. It is like you can say environment SEBI. You there is mentioned that this is you are like, if you, for example, if you buy some particular flat or apartment, it says that they are in environment, trees are there, plantation is there, but it may not be there. The word which is used, green, eco, this eco-friendly, green-friendly, these are the word which are generally used by company for marketing or advertisements. However, when the reporting is done, the reporting will make the reality out. Only by using the word which affects the mindset of the community is not a correct one. This reporting will enable the companies to provide more information, which will be helpful to them to make the right informed decision. Demonstrate process. Again, it talks about the process which is underlying in the company. It helps them to have a process for retrieving information for sustainable reporting. Comes BRSR reporting. Right now, let us now discuss about the what is the requirement in SEBI. So SEBI has compulsory mandated that top 1,000 companies are required to give reporting for BRSR. These top 1,000 companies, when they look at, the first and foremost, I must compliment the SEBI is that they have standardized format. It has not been left upon the companies to decide how they want to give how they want to give information. So if it is left upon the companies, it will again be greenwashing. Means I will inform only what I want to inform. Wherever I am negative, I may not inform it. So just to ensure that it doesn't happen, SEBI has provided a format, a specific format in which every company has to provide that information so that the companies are comparable. Same industry, 5 companies, you can compare information of A with B with C with D with E with F. So how that company stands, that information can be easily comparable. So one of the very important thing is that the reporting format has been specified with the questions, with a clear-cut questions and the format of providing information. They have been specifically laid down by the SEBI. Let us look at how BRSR reporting that there are 3 sections. Section A, Section B, Section C. Section A is on general disclosures. Section B is on management and process disclosures. And Section C is principle-wise performance disclosures. So there are 9 principles, and these 9 principles are being covered in the Section C. What the most crucial and most important part for any company is the Section C, that is principle-wise performance disclosures. Section A, which is general disclosures, that talks about details of listed entities, which are the products or services, key products or services provided by the company, operations, holding, subsidiaries, joint ventures, which are markets served, employees related informations, what is the representation of women, social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, CSR information, then transparency and disclosure compliance, which includes complaints, grievances on any of the principles which are covered here. Section B, which is talking about management and process disclosures. In policy and management processes, it talks about a thing That policy is what? It covers, that covers each principle, and then policies are translated into the procedures. It also extends to value chain partners. Then comes next is governance, leadership, and oversight. So, what is the importance given by the main board, the person who is in a steering position? How they give importance to sustainable development in their policies, in their agenda? What is oversee? How is there any committee has been constituted for by them for the purpose of uh, the overseeing this requirement? So governance, leadership, and oversight is a part of section B. And section C, which is a very important part, which is talking about principle wise. There are 9 principles. So in the section C, you will find 9 different sections for each principles. So principle wise performance disclosures, which includes essential indicators and leadership indicators. Now, one very, very important point for each one of you, please ensure that the essential indicators are compulsory. They are mandatory in nature. Each principle may include a leadership indicators. So leadership indicators means they are not compulsory. Even if you don't provide response to the questions in a leadership indicators, they are okay. There's no need to worry on that part. So leadership indicators are voluntary in nature. So this overview of 9 principles which are being laid down here. The 9 principles P1. Here you will get more information about these are the about integrity of the company, ethical, transparency, accountability of this company. Then goods and services. You are in business, which goods and services are they sustainable and safe? So goods and services are in a manner that is sustainable, safe. That is P2. P3 is focusing on employees. Are you respecting and promoting the well-being of all employees, including their value chains? P4 is to stakeholders. So in addition to the employees, you also have to look at the interest of all stakeholders, everybody who is connected with the company. It may include customers, it may include suppliers, it may include the bankers, financiers. So every person who is having stake, the stakeholders, how the company is protecting the interest of stakeholders. Now P5 is focusing more on human rights. So business should respect and promote human rights. P6 is on environment, respecting and efforts to protect and restore environment. P7 is on influencing public and regulatory policy. P8 is inclusive growth and equitable development, and P9 is on consumers. So the section C, which is a principle wise performance, the section C has been divided into the 9 principles, and each principle have a certain set of questions, and that questions need to be reported. So now we'll discuss about the overall summary of the questions in each principle. Principle 1, business should conduct and govern themselves with integrity and in a manner that is ethical, transparent, and accountable. So the P1 should conduct and govern themselves with the integrity and in a manner that should be ethical, transparent, and accountable. Now, which primarily includes what? It includes training and awareness program. So your employees should be trained about, it should be aware that the company is focusing on ethical, transparency, and accountability. Accountability of everyone should be there. transparency should be there. So the training details are to be provided. If there's a fines or penalties, punishments, award, compounding fine fees, or settlement amount which is paid in proceedings by the entity or by directors or KMP with regulators, etc., that is to be provided. They also need to provide information of anti-corruption or anti-bribery policy, which is being framed by the company with the link is provided on the website or not. And if a disciplinary action has been taken by law enforcement agency with respect to anti-bribery law. If there is a complaint with respect to conflict of interest, then that is to be provided. Process details of any corrective action or issues on corruption and conflict of interest. So just look at principle 1. The principle of 1 is a primary focusing on the ensuring how the company wants to ensure the bribery is not been the part, the corruption should not be there. The training should be provided to the staff about ethics, accountability, and then conflict of interest should not be there. You should be ethically in your approach, and somebody should not be having a conflict of interest in the company itself. So P1 provide indicators on that part. P2, which is it says that business should provide goods and services in a manner that is sustainable and safe. So here, if you just look at it, says that which goods or service you are providing. Now, whatever goods or services providing, are they sustainable? Are they safe? So how can you ensure their goods is sustainable, safe? Then I have to make I have to have focus on research and development and capex. If the company has been investing in R&D, if the company is investing in capex, what is the percentage of R&D and capex that is being done to improve environment and social impact? If the company has been doing R&D and capex, but however there is no percentage has been spent on that amount, then basically this may not be a correct one. Then the procedure for sustainable sourcing. So the sourcing of material which has been done, the sourcing is of the material which is sustainable or not. In case of your products are such where reusing or recycling is required. For example, if you have been receiving certain items in the plastic bags, now after you dispatch the plastic bags or material in the plastic bags, are you trying to ensure that the plastic has been recycled? Are you getting the plastic bags back to recycle to ensure that they are disposed of appropriately? So the reclaim of products for reusing, recycling, and disposing, it generally happens in case of packaging, which is done plastic, e-waste, which happens, hardware waste, hazardous waste, which happens, or any other waste. Now, which kind of procedure which you are trying to ensure that this is not affecting the environment? And extended producer responsibility, if applicable to entity, then it is to be covered here. Vashish, basically fill up proper form. I will say you can refer to. I'm sure that yes, everybody may be looking for the pre-filled things, but the base thing I will say that please refer to the last year's BRSR compliances. I referred earlier that there are more than 100 or 150 companies, they have already published BRSR reporting. Please refer to that. They are pre-filled. They have your more options available. You can go to that pre things, and then you can get on websites of every company. I will also refer to one of the company. I have kept Infosys with me at this young time, and if the time permits, we'll go through the Infosys BRSR, and this is a part of the annual report of Infosys, right? So BRSR 2022, and here you just look at they provide information, and you can refer to this particular thing. Like this is like, for example, let us look at this one for point of view understanding. So principle 7, in principle 7, essential indicators, then number of affiliations, list of top 10 industry chambers. So this way they have been provided. Every company has published their reports on their website, and you can refer to that. It will give you immense information about how to basically use that, and which kind of information is required, which company is providing what information. You can do study, you can do analysis of what has been reported, and that will be useful to this. So my objective is of this session is to provide you what is available, what is there, how to fill the information, which are challenges which can come into picture. We have been doing consulting for certain companies, and we have noticed that there is a lot of challenge as far as the BRSR reporting information to be extracted. Extraction information is the challenge, and ensuring accuracy and completeness is challenge. Yeah, I think you need to do a little bit research, Vashesh. I don't have a list of companies which is readily available, but there are many companies. You just put in Google search with the BRSR report financial year 2022, you will find a lot of companies, and then you can just click on the link, you will get it. Don't worry about that. The information is available, plenty of information available. With this era of information technology, the information is available, access information is available. The only thing is that we don't have time to use that. The time is the most important essentials, and then you just try it, search on Google, you will find that. Next is P3. Okay, we are into P2. Fine. In P2, there's sustainable sourcing. So first focus is that, are you making investment? Are you doing some research and development for the products and processes which can improve? Are you able to reuse, recycle that, or disposing at the end of life? That is P2. Come to P3 is on business to respect. So see here, he is able to identify in just a fraction of minute already Tata Power, ICISA Securities, HDFC. So there are many available. No need to worry about that. You will find it easily. P3, business should respect and promote the well-being of all employees, including those in their value chain. See, the employees has been cornerstone, and when it talks about the well-being of employees and workers. So when I say well-being of workers and employees, it's then how much physical benefit you're providing. Are you getting benefits of health insurance, accident insurance, maternity leaves, paternity leaves, then any daycare benefits? So that information is still provided. For retirement benefits, are you giving gratuity, PF, ESI? Workplaces for handicapped person, is it accessible or not? Policy, is it being drafted by company? Return to work and retention rates of permanent employees. So this is what, once you give paternity leave, after that, whether how many employees are returning that, what is the return to work rate, what is the retention rate for that employees? Grievance mechanism, how you are receiving the grievances, how you are redressing the grievances. Employees and workers membership in association units, training which is given on health and safety measures and skill upgradations, performance and safety management system, details of safety related incidents and measures taken, complaint by workers and employees on working conditions, health and safety related. So these are the many things which are being provided. P4, that is on business should respect the interest of and be responsive to all its stakeholders. Now P3 we discussed about employees. Focus was on how much I take care of employees. Now it is taking questions on stakeholders. So first point is that how you identify key stakeholder. Who are key stakeholders in your company? Then you do list the key stakeholders, and then what is the mode of communications with the stakeholders? What is the frequency of engagement with them? That is to be covered here. P5, which is on business to respect and promote human rights. Human rights, which has been defined as where there should not be any preferences for maybe male, female, or age, or sex, or basically religion. So every human should be equality. They should have the they should be have freedom to of speech. They should be have equal behavior. So human rights, they are saying a training on human rights, minimum wage, how many employees of workers have been paid above minimum wage or below minimum wages, median remuneration, salary wages category wise. Is there any human right issues? How it has been addressed? How it has been? Who is the focal point for getting human rights? Third party assessments of human rights compliances. So this is the way it is to be responded here. P6 is environment. Business should respect and make efforts to protect and restore the environment. That includes the energy consumption. I think now we are talking about the environment, which includes many aspects, which includes energy consumption, intensity, then water withdrawal and consumption, air emissions, greenhouse gas emission, waste management, and environmental impact assessment projects, if any. So this is one of the very critical aspect of the whole reporting, because it is focusing on something where the information extraction may not be so much easier, where you are required to provide information about how much water you are being withdrawn and how much water is consumption, air emissions, gas emissions. So this is where is critical. P7, which is focusing on business when engaging in influencing public and regulatory policy. So do you have affiliation with the trade and industry chambers? Is there any have you taken any corrective actions if in case of any notice issued to by such entities or not? P8 is the business should promote inclusive growth and equitable development. Summary of information required, that is on social impact assessments. Is there any ongoing rehabilitation or resettlement done? Grievance mechanism for community, and what is the percentage of input source from MSME? What is percentage of input source from local suppliers? That information is, you're talking about equitable development of growth, inclusive growth, not growth of me only, growth of everybody who is connected with you. That is what is critical. And last point, P9, before I end up here, is that, and if you have questions, you can put your questions in chat box. P9, it says that business should engage with and provide value to its consumers in a responsible manner. So do you have the mechanism for receiving consumer complaint, feedback sharing, turnover which is relevant to environment, safe usage, recycling, product recalls if any, cyber security, corrective actions if any taken by the regulatory agencies? So it is primarily focusing on consumers. And now with this, I'm coming to end of this. I'm keeping 5-6 minutes for all of you, so that if you have any questions, I can address your questions. But before that, I would like to talk about my practical experience of dealing with this BRSR reporting compliances. One of the most important challenge for every company is that there is need to create awareness. Today, everyone which has subscribed to this particular thing, the awareness of sustainability development, why this recovery is not there. Unless the awareness is created, it may be only the compliance part. But in my view, the awareness is very critical thing. So staff awareness and training is one part which is to be covered. Second, the most important thing is information may be provided. How much information is accurate? Whether information is accurate or not is a critical thing. Whether information is complete in all respect. Company may have been established across the region, across every city and state in the country. Then the information may be required to be taken from every particular projects. So whether the information is complete or not. If they are multifunctional, so this is not something where you can receive information only from accounts or only from HR or only from XYZ team. There's a need to have multifunctional parameters when you may have to have correspondence communication with different functional heads. So obtaining information, training them, and then doing coordination is a tricky task. It may require to have a lot of standard operating policies, SOPs and policies which may be required, and that need to be drafted so that the compliance thereof is being done. interaction with suppliers, because it talks about value chain, it talks about communities, it talks about the way the government, the way the governance, the way the directors has been driving these things. So interaction with the suppliers management and many one who are connected are required. So I think this is really talking about very important points. So I will say at the end that before I take up the question answers and before I take about others points from you, uh, this is talking about leave no one behind. It is talking about inclusive growth. It is about sustainable development. One cannot grow at the cost of other. One cannot make development at the cost of future generations. So everyone who is connected with you, either as employee, either as workers, either as a suppliers, either as a community, either as a consumer, either it may be a planet, it may be a city, it may be anybody, they all should be taken along. So leave no one behind. You should have a focus on sustainable development. And that's why the reporting is in the right direction. So let me first refer to any chat box questions are there. There are certain global certifications, CFA, GRAP, which I have come across. Yes, see, there are many certifications, Vashesh. So in my view, you can start with only one certification, and then you can, as your interest is developed, because it may not be possible for you to take all certifications, but you can start with any local certifications to start with, just to see that do you have interest or not. If you have interest in these parameters, then yes, you can go global certifications. That is in my view. The BRSR principles will be applicable to industries on a case by case, right? For example, if nature of business for companies insurance, then how? So basically, the formatting of the format is provided by the SEBI is a uniform format, which is very good. There are 77 industry specific format provided by the global reporting authorities. Now, if it is not applicable, you can mention it's not applicable. The objective is to provide uniform reporting format was to ensure that comparability happens. Otherwise, what happens, and there's no need to make it so complex to provide a different format for different industries today to start with. So that's why if it's not applicable, you can write down not applicable. There are some maybe Q&A. What is the difference between ESG and CSR? CSR is the point which has been started a long back, is a corporate social responsibility. ESR is environmental social governance. So CSR is very common in nature. Environment social governance, which drives you towards environment social governance. So CSR is a very common word. ESG is more specific towards, and SVG is a more aligned towards the goals of international. How and where to file BRSR report? Sir, it is to be filed in MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and I'm sure that MCA will develop some utility for filing that in the soon. Still, it is year end, so it should be available maybe after a couple of months. Assurance report from CA is not compulsory. Today, the reports, there is no need to have assurance report, but in the future, there's possibility that the assurance may come to picture, because today, the first year, the objective is to ensure that the information is extracted. The focus is on developing system so that the information can be extracted and reported. Today, the information may not be 100% correct. So adding assurance today is very difficult. That's why assurance today is not required. There's no need to have certification from CA. In the future, it may come into picture. It is not compulsory. Yes, the same. I think Abhijit, whether CSR, I think the same. I asked that it is not compulsory. I replied. What is the difference between limited assurance and reasonable assurance while giving or preparing BRSR report or audit? See, Bharadwaji, as I mentioned that this is not compulsory today, but limited assurance and reasonable assurance, they both are different terms. It is not with respect to BRSR. Limited assurance is a word where you are giving a very limited assurance. It's kind of LR kind of thing, limited review point of view. So reasonable assurance, both are not so, both are different, but we need to refer to the particular standard for that. it is not so much relevant with respect to BRSR or audit. Any other questions? I think I have referred to that chat box. Okay, I think there are certain here, right? Devang Bhai has asked question. There are many international standards available. Some of them are satisfied like EcoVadis. Right? Yes, there are 77 standards are being already done, and industry specific standards done because what happens that for every industry, as somebody asked question that if it is not applicable for insurance, how can I report it to? So maybe in future the formats and maybe defined for for every industry can be different reporting format. But today to start with, there is no point of making it complex. So that's why today they have made it very simple by way of a uniform formatting. But however, there are a separate standard for every industry. There are 77 international sustainability standards are issued for different industries. Yes, basically opportunities are available. In my view, for even SMPs, the opportunities are available. How? Here, the sustainable development in one of the principles says that your supplier or value chain is very important. Now it asks question that are you using a supplier who are also compliant with sustainable requirement? So in any MNC would prefer a supplier who are in compliance with sustainable development standards. So this is going to percolate or to so many different layers because everybody would prefer somebody who's compliant with sustainable development. So that's why, in my view, not today, but over the period, it's going to even reach to the small size companies also. Arjunji, we are from EHS Remain. What solution will be get into ESG? I come out GRI, selection BSI, and certified ESG professional for ISEA. I think these all are very, very, as I mentioned, certification. You can go with any certifications. These all GRI is the norm from BSI. So these all are very, very well known names. What I mentioned, GRI, BSI, ISEA, they all three are reputed. I'm not saying that one or two is better. You can select of your own choice, right? So let me see. Any the questions are coming in Q&A box. How many countries have adopted ESG reporting? I think there are many companies, maybe more than 100 countries. They have started with ESG reporting. Maybe compliance part will be over the period. It will go on. In your opinion, whether 1,000 companies who are supposed to file BRSR report are ready equipped to file BRSR? I have resources to file BRSR. In my view, basically they are not so much equipped. I think they will definitely require some advisors, some consultant for reporting. 100, 200 companies who were already reported last year, they may not require probably if they have already compared with the last year, so they may require some kind of fine tuning from last year's experience. But rest 800 companies will definitely require some kind of consultant who can support them, who can advise them these requirements. So with no further questions, and I will again put one point to all of you that this is a very, very important change, and non-financial change is very critical and it affects each one of us. So when you look at this kind of compliances, I think we should not only focus as from the financial part, we should also look at their making contribution to the society. They're making contribution to the planet. They're making contribution to the life of the employees, to the life of the human rights. So I think these kind of things are having focus on overall inclusive growth and development of everyone who is connected. And this principle we should also adopt in our own lives. And that is what is a thought which is being after this session, is that leave no one behind. We must progress, we must grow, but taking everyone together, then only we can have a good planet, good environment, and good world to live for everyone together us, and that is the main objective of sustainable development and sustainable growth.